Money laundering in the hundreds of millions of dollars, heroin trafficking and the life of a casino high roller. Welcome to the world of Vietnamese refugee turned millionaire gambler and crook Pete Hoang. His life offers a fascinating glimpse inside the world of organised crime and raises serious questions about how he laundered so much money in Australia for so long. Dylan Welch and Nikki Tugwell prepared this report.
It's a Saturday night in Sydney inside the luxury apartment of drug trafficker Pete Hoang. He's getting ready for a midnight meeting in the city's west. Hoang's movements that night have been pieced together by police.
He drove directly to Dunmore Street at Croydon Park, where we think he waited for someone or met someone there. We know that Mr Hoang got out of his car in Dunmore Street around midnight and was on the sidewalk. When a male person approached him from a unit block adjacent to where he was standing and fired a number of shots and killed him then and there.
A man has been killed in a brazen public shooting in Sydney's inner west. Police are appealing to the public for help as they investigate links to organised crime.
We have witnesses who see a lowered white or grey coloured hatchback with a large spoiler that was around the vicinity of Dunmore Street at the time. We think that those persons or persons in that vehicle may have something to do with the murder, and we're hoping that we can identify who they are.
Hoang was a bit player in a heroin syndicate who had gone on to become one of Australia's biggest drug money launderers.
We've received information from a variety of sources which had suggested he was involved in large-scale drug supply and in the movement of money through casinos across Australia for some time now, a number of years in fact.
Hoang's life and violent death shines a light on the world of professional money laundering, a vast and growing industry in Australia.
It's right across our economy and right across our society. The Australian Crime Commission estimate that about $15 billion is lost to organised crime to the national economy. Most of that is done through money laundering processes, so it's a significant lifeblood of organised crime.
15 billion a year?
Yeah.
Hoang, seen here at a court appearance this year, was part of a Vietnamese-Australian heroin syndicate run by a man police nicknamed Batman. So this is the old surveillance footage. Veteran organised crime investigator Mike Purchase led a groundbreaking operation in 2005 called Task Force Gordian Catacomb. Its surveillance revealed heroin profits being laundered through money transfer companies in Sydney and in Melbourne.
The size of the problem was massive, not what had been considered as the size of it prior to Gordian Catacomb, that we were talking about billions of dollars.
Purchase's task force secretly recorded money transfer staff handling bags containing hundreds of thousands in cash. The task force traced the money to a Hong Kong-based organised crime syndicate.
If you're thinking in terms of the Ong Noi syndicate, that's an international syndicate. That this would the local end of it would have been the 21 minor feeders.
One of those feeders or subsidiaries was Hoang's outfit, the Batman Syndicate. Police didn't have enough evidence to charge them, and Hoang and the others escaped arrest. This was just the beginning for Pete Hoang. He became a key money launderer in Australia and began to receive millions in cash from organised criminal syndicates. Some casinos, like the Star, forbade him from gambling and kicked him out repeatedly. Others treated him like a king. 730 has learned that Hoang laundered hundreds of millions in drug money, but much of it was gambled at Crown Casino in Melbourne.
What's interesting about Mr. Huang's gambling patterns is that they were such big stakes. You know, he's reported as having staked over 100,000 on a hand. So this would be reported in the log under big bets for purposes of international fraud and money laundering requirements. So one has to raise huge questions about why his links to drug money wasn't or weren't found earlier.
In a 2012 court case, Crown Casino's compliance manager testified that Huang bought gambling chips worth $75 million between 2000 and 2012, which she estimated equalled a turnover of 3 times that amount. The prosecutor suggested the turnover could be as high as $1 billion.
This is an amazing amount of money. He would be accounting for a very high proportion of gambled funds. He would be what's called in the business, I think, a person of interest. So you would think that there would be a trigger between any casino and the police for such a person of interest.
In his decade of gambling, Crown lavished on Huang accommodation in luxury suites such as this, as well as free business class flights, food, booze and cash payments up to $100,000. Huang gambled under his name and 3 aliases: James Ho, John Ho, Patrick Liu. He was issued loyalty cards in all 4 names by Crown.
This is where casinos are part of the laundering system, and they become the beneficiaries of the proceeds of crime. So when it's found out, why don't they have to give it back?
It wasn't until September 2012 that police began investigating Huang, after he withdrew $2.3 million from his Crown Casino account.
You must know me well. Yes, Baccarat. Fantastic.
A month later, on the morning of October 12, Huang called his usual VIP host at Crown and said he'd be bringing $1 million in cash. She arranged business class flights from Sydney to Melbourne. Huang and one of his travel companions arrived at Crown with 2 suitcases filled with $1.5 million. The suitcases were taken to one of the casino's most prestigious places, the high roller only Mahogany Room. Huang arrived at a private gaming salon about 1:30 a.m. to play Baccarat. Minutes after, he was arrested by police. When he was shot dead 2 years later, he was awaiting trial for laundering the proceeds of crime.
From a casino perspective, they're just other patrons, and I guess organised crime sees it in 2 ways. They see it as a place to flaunt their wealth, but they also see it as a place where they can perhaps infiltrate or manipulate the processes and systems in order to launder cash. Casinos deal in large quantities of cash. Organised crime has large quantities of cash that they want to launder. So it's a perfect fit in that sense.
Crown declined to answer 730's questions except to say it had been assisting state and federal law enforcement agencies for some time regarding Mr. Huang.